Hi everybody, it's Terry Schultz and I'm Legally Crafty, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Aledo, Texas. And tonight I wanted to show you a couple of really cute cards, and I'm using this really sweet honeybee stamp set from the new mini catalog and also the dies. So we're using this bundle, and there's actually a coordinating paper DSP in the Sale A Bration catalog. So right here is the DSP, so you can get this DSP for free if you spend $50, and this bundle is $41.25. So if you got the bundle plus maybe a couple of ink pads, you'd have enough to get the DSP. And the DSP is Specialty DSP, and let me show you, it's really great because there's some gold. You can see the foil on this one, and there's gold foil like on this one with the flowers. There's stripes, and there's these hexagons, which I love, and just lots of great paper in this DSP pack. So we're going to use some of the DSP. We're using almost all of the stamps in the stamp set, which is really a sweet stamp set, and also many of the dies, which are right here. So I've done a lot of the die cutting and stamping already, just so we'll save some time. I'm only using two colors tonight. I'm using crushed curry and I'm using memento ink. So those are the ink colors. So for the first card, let me grab my stack of supplies. This is the card right here. I think it's so cute. Look at those hexagons, those like honeycombs. I am a really big fan of hexagons. They just make me super happy. So anytime I see hexagons, I'm gonna probably want to get them. And I do love these. They're so fun to play with. And this die, you can see right here. So you're going to get the outline like I've got on here, but you're also going to get a bunch of those little hexagons from the middle, and we're going to use some of those on the next card. So here's the card, and let me show you. So I die cut them, but I left some of the little pieces in the middle just so you can see. They just pop right out, and then you save all of those pieces, and you've got some little hexagons. So we need two of these, and I've already got those die cut, and I'm just punching the little hexagons out of the middle of them, and I just love them so much. And then I stamped a bee and die cut it, and you can see that these stamps are distinctive, so that means they look like a photograph, more or less. You can see they already shade themselves, and they're just great, the distinctive stamps. And those are unique to Stampin' Up. They're patent pending on those. And then a couple of the flowers, these flowers right here, which I also die cut. And let me show you how I stamp them like this. Oh, there's one, I guess there's one more color we're using, and that is Call Me Clover. So to color these, I used my markers, Call Me Clover and Crushed Curry, and I used the brush end, and I just colored in the leaves like this, and using the marker, not coloring in the flower parts, and just making sure I get a good amount of ink. Oh, I guess you can't see that, sorry, on here. And just like that. And then on this one, I'm also using the brush end, and I'm just gonna go ahead and color in the flower with that crushed curry. And sometimes it's easier, and it might be a better idea to color in your lighter color first, so you don't actually accidentally get some of that darker color on the lighter color. So let me bring in a scrap of my Whisper White and show you how that, and then you just stamp that down just like that. And then you get yellow, where you colored the yellow, the crushed curry, and then the Call Me Clover green right there. And that's a good way to do double colors on your stamps. If you want to do that, is using your markers. Oh, this is crushed curry, and this is Call Me Clover. So we'll put the lids on the right ones. So, but I've already got those cut out, so I'm gonna use the ones I've got cut out, and I've got those cut out. I have a base of basic black. Sorry, I'm getting crooked here. And I cut it, it's 11 by 4 1/4. So just took one piece of cardstock and cut it in half lengthwise, and then I'm just gonna fold that over and crease that. I'm going to use my bone folder to get a good crease there. And then I'm using this is a piece of crushed curry cardstock, and it is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And we're going to put this piece of the DSP. It's got the little honeycomb on the back, but I'm using this side, which is black and white and kind of grays. We're going to put this right on the edge like this, but before we do that, we're going to stamp on this piece. And I'm just using this little hello stamp that is in the stamp set, and I'm using crushed curry ink on my crushed curry paper, if I can get this open. And I'm just kind of randomly stamping once and then stamping again, so I get a dark and a stamped off image, and it doesn't matter because I'm just going to end up stamping all up and down this, just like this. So we can get this randomly stamped, and it's pretty easy to just make a background like this. You can stamp your own backgrounds and get random stamping, and then when you get it all put together, it looks really great. So today is Saturday, and it is January 18th. I can't believe it's the 18th of January already, but it is. So this year is going by fast. Today in Texas, it was in the 50s, but it was real windy. So the wind was cold. But we went out and played golf at a little par 3 course with a friend of ours and a young man who goes to our church, good kid. So that I got a little bit of you can see I'm getting some ink on the kind of the edge, and if you push down too far on these, you'll get a little bit on your card. That's not going to matter much because of where it is, but just be careful about pushing down too far and getting too much, getting the little edge on your stamping there. So that's probably pretty good. You just have all those little hellos in darker and lighter colors. So I'm going to clean off my stamp using my Simply Chamois. This is just wet with water, and it just cleans the stamps beautifully. It just gets that ink right off of there and cleans your stamps. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and clean this one that I used as well. I'm setting these aside because we're not going to use these again. So, and then you can just rinse it with water and re-wet it so that you're sure you have enough water on there, and that should be good. And it just keeps cleaning your stamps, even though it's a little bit stained like mine is. That's fine, it still cleans your stamps. So I'm going to close up this ink pad, and I don't think I'm using that again, but I don't remember. So this piece is, so before I glue this down to my card base, I'm going to glue this piece onto it, and I'm using the multi-purpose liquid glue, which you can get. It's in the annual catalog, and I like this glue because I think it holds better, and also you can wiggle before it dries. You've got a little bit of time to kind of wiggle and make sure you get your piece in the right place. So now I'm using the basic black, what's it called? Just basic black satin ribbon, and it is a 1/2 inch wide, and I'm just putting that right across my card, and so I'm going to wrap it around the back and stick it down. So that's why I didn't want to stick this piece onto my card base just yet, and this is kind of around the middle like that. So to stick this down, I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive right on the back of the card, and then fold this over, and it'll stick right to the back. And then when we glue this to the card base, that'll hold it on as well. Now I'm just taking another little piece of this ribbon, and I'm going to just tie it around right here and make a little kind of fake bow, because I'm just knotting it. So just like this, and that just makes a real cute little bow right there. And then you can just trim your edge. This edge got a little rough, I think, from cutting it with these scissors. A lot of people just have a special pair of scissors just for their ribbon, and I probably should do that because I think these scissors are kind of rough for the ribbon. They don't cut it the best, but I'm not that picky about things. So I'm getting little pieces of ribbon all on my paper here. So that's like that. Now we're going to put these down, and these are going to go just run under here, so we've got them on top and below where our sentiment's going to go. And the way I'm gluing these, getting glue on these, because they're such thin pieces like that, the easiest way to get glue on them is to take your silicone craft sheet and just put some glue on your craft sheet. And then I'm taking a sponge, and you can get these round sponges in the annual catalog, and I just cut it in quarters, and then I just am gonna put a little bit of glue just on kind of one end, because I kind of want the other parts of it to stick up a little bit. Make sure I'm putting it on the back side of that. And then the glue will dry on this silicone sheet, but it will not stick to it. So once it's dry, you can just kind of pull it right off. So I'm just sticking that down, and see, this part doesn't have glue on it, so that'll stick up a little bit, which gives a little bit of dimension to my card. And then I'm just putting this under the ribbon like this, and we have some sticking down like that. Now, for the sentiment, I have a strip of Whisper White that's 1 inch wide, and I am going to stamp my sentiment, which is thinking of you, sweet friend, and I'm using black Memento ink, and I'm just going to stamp that right on here and hope that I get it straight. And stamp that down. That's straight-ish. I'm gonna go with it. So now what I did was I'm using this, I think it's Timeless label. I'll put it on the screen. And you can see my paper is not as wide as this punch. This is a punch. But I'm going to just kind of get this evenly in the center there, and I'm going to punch that out. And that just gives me rounded edges on my sentiment. So you can just make your punches look a little, you can do a little bit different things with your punches if you want to, and make them look a little bit different. So that's going right here on the middle of my card, and I'm putting that on with dimensionals. So I have a sheet of dimensionals right here, and I'm gonna put them on the top and the bottom, and I'm just using these edge pieces. So you can use all the parts of your dimensionals. And I'm gonna stick this on. This goes like this, oops, and just like right there, and that'll stick right down on my card. And then I'm gluing these flowers in using glue dots because they'll stick in easily that way. So I've got a glue dot right at the bottom, but I'm also going to use a mini dimensional on each of these on the flowers because that's going to help them stick at the top. So I have these mini dimensionals, so they're smaller dimensionals, and I'm putting one at the top here at each of the flowers like this. And that's just going to help them kind of adhere to the card a little better and not get too bent. So I can peel these off. There we go. So, and they're just going to kind of crisscross each other. Just like this. And I might have the I do have the dimensional in the way, so I'm going to move that over a little bit so it's not in the way, and I can get this flower kind of in here like this, and then like that. Get that straight, and that'll stick down like that. And then I've got my little bee guy that I cut out and then die cut. He's kind of cute, but also I'm not a huge fan of bees. I don't like them. The way they fly around, they kind of freak me out, but I'm going with it. So this bee is getting stuck down with a dimensional as well. And I'm going to put him right here. So he's just kind of flying right up here like that. And then to add a little bit to this sentiment, I had also die cut one of the beehive or hexagon things out of crushed curry. So I have a little crushed curry hexagon, and I'm gonna glue that right on my sentiment like this. And then one last thing, I am going to use these. These are the Peaceful Poppies sequins, so they go with the Peaceful Poppies or the Poppy Suite. I'm not sure what the suite's called right now, but which is an awesome suite, and you should definitely get it because there's so many things to do with that. I'm using my Take Your Pick tool to get a black sequin out of here, and I just put a little bit of glue on my hexagon right there, and I'm putting the black sequin right there with the liquid glue, and it'll stick there. So these sequins are great, and they have a lot of colors and match with the Peaceful Poppies suite, like I said. So definitely you'll want to get those as well. Now I'm sticking this down to my paper. So now I'm going to put this on my card base. And I'm just gluing it down with some of the liquid glue, just like this. And that's the front of our card. Isn't that cute? Now just one more thing. We're gonna stamp the inside, and I'm just stamping a couple of the bees on a piece of Whisper white paper to go on the inside. So here's the bee, and I'm using Memento ink. And what I did is I just inked this up. Stamp that off because that ink looks uneven. And I stamped him right here at the bottom like this. And then I'm stamping him again without re-inking. So there's just a little bit lighter one there, and I think that looks cute. So I'm gonna close that up, and then I'm just gonna glue this to the inside of my card. And then we have one of our projects done. I just think this is a super cute stamp set, and the paper is just amazing with the gold foil on it. So cute. Isn't that cute? There we go. So that's our first card. And now I want to show you another card that I made with this set. And I'm going to pull my pieces over here. And here's the card. I think it's cute. I love how that turned out. And there's gold foil on this DSP that we're using. So let's get started with this one. So I have a card base of crushed curry, and this time I cut it 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm just gonna fold it in half, and I'm gonna give it a good crease. I'm gonna crease it with my bone folder so it'll lay flat, nice and flat. So there's that. And then I have a piece of basic black, and this is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, and that's going to go right on here. I'm not going to do that just yet though. And then I have a piece of the DSP, and this is 3 3/4 by 5. And that's going to go just right on here. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And you can see the back of this has black and white flowers. And you can do a lot with this. You could color in some of the flowers so you have a colored background. So you could make this paper match any colors you want. I really like this side of this for this project because I like the diagonal lines, and I like the gold foil on it, making the diagonal lines. So now to put this card together, I have, this is my inside. I'm gonna put that there right now. So this is going right about here, and I stamped the I just stamped this stamp in crushed curry ink, and then I die cut it using the matching die, and I stamped the sentiment. Now you can see this sentiment is already curved like that, and I put it back already so you can see it. But I stamped it on black in Versamark ink, and then I heat embossed it with white embossing powder, and then I just cut out around it so it just had the curve. So I'm putting these down together like this. So I just laid this on here first so I kind of know where to put this beehive, and I'm gonna put this beehive on with dimensionals. So I'm just grabbing a few of these edge pieces, and we'll stick that on with dimensionals. So I get Monday off because it's Martin Luther King Day, which makes me really happy. I know we just had a long break, but it's still nice to have Martin Luther King Day in the middle of January, because we don't really get another official holiday until Memorial Day, which can be kind of depressing. And I know we have PTO, so we can take days, and I will, but it's nice to have this day off, Martin Luther King Day, just to get, and I like having Mondays off better, I think, than Fridays. I don't know, it's just nice to know on Sunday night that I'm not having to get up and go to work on Monday morning. I don't know why, it's just, I just like it better. So, you know, if I was working a 4-day week, like some people do, I would pick to have Monday be my day off. That's just me. So, I'm really happy to have Monday off. I'm going to work from home on Tuesday. I'm going into Fort Worth for a meeting later in the day, and I've got a couple of meetings in Fort Worth on Wednesday, so I'm just going to stay here and do those, and I think it'll be easier. So I think that's super cute. And then what I did was I took some of these, remember the middles of our honeycombs that we cut out? So I'm taking 6 of these, and I'm going to place them. I just love hexagons. I don't know. I guess because I'm a chemist, and I'm an organic chemist, hexagons just, they just are a pleasing shape to me. So I love them. So, and these have been super fun to play with. So I'm just putting these on here, just like this, and placing them together. Now you could use your outline kind of as a template for spacing, but these are really easy to space together because the lines just kind of match up really nicely. So it's not too hard to do it, but if you wanted to make sure you get the spacing real even, you could just lay, you know, one of your outlines down and then use that to place your hexagons like this. You just place them inside and you can pull it up. You could do that. I'm not going to take the time to do that today, but I'm just putting a little bit of liquid glue on the edge, and then I'm going to, I just stick it down. And the liquid glue is nice, like I said, because you can kind of move it a little bit and get it placed where you want to. So I'm going to do this one like this, which is different from how I did the other one. But I think I like that. I think I like that. So that's cute. Now, I also die cut the intricate bumblebee, this one right here that has all the pieces, and I left it in the black foil so you can see how it comes out. It's got a lot of pieces that need to be punched out. So I'm just going to punch the little bee out from my black foil, and I'm going to bring in my, well, there's 2 ways you could do this. Actually, I don't think this one is available anymore. So there's a brush tip for the take your pick tool. Mine seems to be lost. But there's a brush tip like this that goes with the take your pick tool that you can just stick on the end of your take your pick tool and use it to do what I'm going to do right now. And you can just brush it, and it comes with one of these foam pads. So and see how nicely that brushes out most of those. That got all of them. So the first one I did, I ran through my die cut machine one time, and the pieces poked out easily, just fine. And this one I ran through twice, and the pieces poked out real easily as well. So I think if you just run it through one time, you should be good. And then use your brush to just get all the pieces out, and then you've got that cut out like that. So I'm going to set that aside, and I just put a little bit of glue right on the wider parts of his body. You can see right here, right there. to stick him down. I'm not trying to stick him down all the way to the end. You can see on this sample, which I'll show you in a second, that I kind of bent his wings up a little bit on the edges so that there's a little bit of dimension to them. So I'm just sticking him kind of like that on the beehive, and then the wings can go like that. Cute. Isn't that cute? Now, that's the front of our card, so I'm going to use my glue and get him off and stick that down to my card base. So just put a little bit of glue around the edges, and then we'll do the inside of our card. So here is the front, and I love that with the crushed curry card base. I think that just makes it stand out. It just pops. Super cute. Now I have this other bee, the bigger bee, that I also die cut out because I thought I was going to use him on the front and didn't work out really well. So I'm using him on the inside. So on the inside, I'm using the sentiment, celebrate every moment, and I'm going to stamp that in black ink and just kind of toward the top. Hopefully it'll be straight-ish. It is. That looks really good. And then before I glue down my bee, I'm going to bring back in my crushed curry ink like this. And I'm bringing in this stamp, and this is from, let me pull it in. This is from the Painted Poppy stamp set. So I mentioned the poppies before. We used the sequins that go with this suite, and this includes this stamp that's kind of a splatter, ink splatter stamp. And so I wanted to use that on the inside of my card. So I brought it in, and I'm just inking it up with crushed curry ink, and then I'm just kind of putting it over my sentiment like that. I think that looks really cute. Now, because this is the inside of my card, I don't want to pop my bee up, so I'm going to put him down pretty good with some liquid glue. So he can just be kind of flying off the edge like this. And I'll just glue this to the inside of the card. Like this. And that looks super cute. There we go. And that is a beautiful card. And you could, wishing you sunshine and happiness would be a great wedding card. Even celebrate every moment on the inside. You could make it a birthday card. You could just send this for somebody you're thinking of, and I think it's super cute. So here's our cards from today. And thank you for stamping with me, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.